Hi everyone, I'm Sean.
And I'm Alex, and we're the Homeward Bound group, and we work out of the Advisors Living Real Estate office in Andover, Massachusetts. I'm sure you've heard a lot of real estate agents screaming from the rooftops about the recent rate cut, and we wanted to get in on that as well.
Yay, the rates dropped!
So I'm sure a lot of you are aware that the rates have dropped, and that has affected the mortgage rate. Right now it's hovering at around 6%, and that's the lowest rate that we've seen in over a year and a half. So we wanted to talk about what that means for you as a seller or as a buyer, depending on what side of the market you're on. So for the sellers, inventory continues to be really low. Today we looked at Andover and North Andover inventory. In Andover currently there are 44 homes for sale, and in North Andover there are 11 homes for sale. So inventory is still really low compared to a few years ago. This means that as a seller you're still facing very little competition. So this is still a really good time to sell if that's what you're planning to do. I don't think that the 6% rate is low enough for all the sellers out there to wake up tomorrow and decide to list their homes. So I think you'll still be facing very little competition.
Yeah, a lot of buyers who've bought in just say the last 5 or 10 years, they're in at that 3%. 6% isn't really enough to move them off the mark. So you're still there, and you're not going to be competing against them.
Right. If the rates do go down even more, then you will probably see more inventory enter the market, and you're going to be facing more competition. It's really difficult to predict what's going to happen. If rates do drop and buyers flood the market, but inventory also matches that demand, then we're going to see a neutral market. If the amount of buyers doesn't increase, but inventory goes up, then we're going to see a buyer's market. If the amount of buyers surpasses inventory, then the market is going to continue favoring sellers. The lower rate is also good news for buyers.
Yeah,
do you want to go over that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it probably favors the buyers more than it favors the sellers, to be honest. A lot of buyers who are just sort of hovering on the sidelines, not jumping into the market because they're looking at these rates that had gone up so much so fast. They're seeing that pullback now, and it's becoming a lot more palatable and a lot easier for them to afford a property that they couldn't afford a year ago. So as the buyer, if you can move a little quicker and sort of get into the market now before other people start to wind up and jump into the market, you can catch what has been a bit of a slow market for the last couple of months. Inventory's been moving a little bit slower as it comes in. Properties have been sitting on the market a little bit longer, and now with this lower rate, if you can jump in and find that house that you've been looking for, you might only be competing against 1 or 2 offers, especially if you're looking at something that's more of a fixer-upper. The demand on those is very low right now. The higher demand properties right now are those, 100% move-in ready homes. So if you're a buyer looking to get in right now, I'm going to call it historic low rates because it's, for the last year and a half. That's history, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. little historic. Yeah. This nice drop that we've seen over the last year and a half is really favoring you.
Chances are that rates are going to drop a little bit more.
If the Fed wasn't lying.
Right. And so that is attractive, thinking that rates might drop even further. Well, shouldn't I just wait and see if the rates drop? Well, just keep in mind that if you do wait for rates to drop and you're in a good position right now to buy or sell, if they do drop, it just means that probably more buyers are going to enter the market, and that's going to increase competition, and more sellers are going to enter the market, as I said before. And that's also going to increase the competition for the sellers. So again, nobody knows what's going to happen in the future. This is good news for both buyers and sellers, probably more for buyers, as you said. Yeah. And if you are in a position where you're ready to buy or ready to sell, I wouldn't wait to see what the market is going to do, because the rates might not decrease.
Yeah,
even further.
I've got a lot of sellers I've been talking to, and they've had their home for 20 years or 30 years. They're pretty much mortgage free, or they've got a small home equity line of credit. They've built up so much equity in their house. If they're thinking of selling, now is the perfect time to sell, because you're selling it with that that maximum increase in value of the home. You're moving on to the downsizing or getting into that property. You might not even need a mortgage. Whereas if you're waiting a little bit longer and inventory builds up but it increases and the rates don't drop significantly, let's say they just drop a little bit, every month the inventory keeps building, you're going to start competing against more sellers. So right now is a really good time for sellers, and it's a little bit better, but it's a really good time for the buyers.
I think that's pretty much what we wanted to cover today. Give us a call if you have any questions. The number is at the bottom of the screen, and we'll see you in the next video.
All right. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye, everybody.